Care Chats. Care Chats with Tanya, Mark, and Nick. Care Chats. Care Chats with Tanya, Mark, and Nick. Grab a mug of care and join us for some Care Chats with Tanya, Mark, and Nick.
Yes, please. It feels so nice to just say hello to everyone. This is Queer Spirits Season 9, and we are so lucky to be here with Theresa Sterner, she, her, a very magical human that I personally have had the honor to connect with in other magical virtual spaces. So we say thank you to Amanda Yates Garcia, thank you to Leah Garza for colliding, Theresa and I.
It was meant to be.
For sure.
Absolutely. Welcome. So you both met through Living Systems? Is that right?
Yes, Leah Garza's Living Systems, but also prior to that, we've been in virtual space with Amanda Yates Garcia's Mystery Cult Moon Circles. Mm-hmm. So Theresa and I have been getting witchy.
Yeah. And the reading groups too. The reading groups are really really amazing, more sort of like intimate spaces where a small group of us get together and really dig into really fascinating, transformative readings that Amanda brings to the group. And we just have these like super deep, nourishing conversations. They really, every time I go to one, I feel like fed afterwards.
Yeah, thank you. And also the FRL Studio.
Oh, yeah.
That's also part of that. And so we get to go and hang out and do that deep dive into like, let's go. And it's so beautiful to be in community, right?
Yeah,
and
it really is.
Amanda always knows how to bring it in that way, like an opportunity for us to explore and also be in community. And then can't say enough about Leah and her ability to do that. I mean, Theresa and I already knew each other, so I'll just play a connect to that. And then we get to get put into mini pods in the Living Systems, and we ended up in a mini pod together.
Yeah. When I got the email from Leah that she was like, we put pods together. You're in a pod with Tanya, Mark, and Karina. And I was like, yes, this is correct. I was super stoked to get to know you better in a more intimate container, because then we started texting.
That's right.
Yeah.
So Theresa, what is some of your witchy story?
Oh my God. So I guess I'll kind of like go back. So I'm an artist. I have like formal training. I have a BFA in metalsmithing and jewelry and sculpture. So it's kind of like in like the craft world, but then also moved into sculpture. And then I have a master's in sculpture. And so for like most of my adult life, I was really trying to like be a professional artist, and like I was in academics and trying to live that artist life. And then in 2020, like the pandemic, that sort of like pulled the rug out from under me. I had a bunch of opportunities that sort of evaporated, like a lot of people did, but I was also like really burned out because it's always one of those things where people are like, oh, to be an artist is really hard, but like they don't really talk about like the structural problems with it. It's like you have to do a lot of like unpaid labor, and it just feels really like extractive. And so I think I was just like burned out. Mm-hmm. And I also was furloughed from like a job at an art college. And so it was my first time, like pretty much in my life, that I had like a long stretch of time where I wasn't like working, where I wasn't spending all of my time doing labor for capital, And I had been like interested in Amanda. I'd been listening to her podcast, Between the Worlds, talking about tarot for a long time. And I was like curious about astrology. And so 2020, like that summer, was the time where I was like, I'm going to dive into this. I would tell my friends, I'm like, I'm going to just do like a re-education of like occult and mystical kind of creativity. And so that's kind of when I started doing it. And so I had a lot of time on my hands, and I like bought myself a tarot deck. I started going to Amanda's moon ceremonies. I started a tarot practice. I also started a like dream journaling practice. And so I was getting to spend like my routine, my ritual was like every morning I would go out on the patio and I would write. And I had never really had time to have a writing practice before that. And so that was like, you know, a beautiful thing. And I was like, I'm going to actually commit to this because it's really fascinating. It's really calling to me. It's outside of, you know, like colonialism, you know, it's like a way of viewing the world and like it's like a mythopoetic kind of technology, you know. And so when I was in art school, it was sort of not cool to talk about that kind of stuff. I think it's different now. I'm sure there's, you know, students who are like talking about their circle casting and stuff, but you know, I kind of gave myself permission to just like go there, and I started making stuff for myself that I wasn't like worried about, you know, getting approval from anyone, because that's kind of the thing about playing the like professional art rat race game is you're constantly having to like, you know, appeal to the gatekeepers and, you know, ask for opportunities and space to put things in, and you know, you have to be like prove that you're relevant and, you know, talk about how your work is related to the like canon of like Western art history, you know. And it's just like I want to pivot. And so that's actually where my candle practice came from, because I had been doing a lot of casting and mold making. It's just like something that I love doing. And so I had been doing lost wax casting in like 2019. And so I wanted to start making candles for these moon rituals. And I was like, well, if I have all these molds that I put wax in, all I need is a wick and then I have a candle, you know? So then I started making all of these candles that were made from molds of like natural objects that I find around. Like I have some of them like pine cones and like rocks, like sticks and stones and pomegranate here.
Yeah.
Shell things.
So were candles the first thing you made when you started to make something just for yourself, when you were like, I'm tired of like trying to make something for the world. I want to make something for myself.
Yeah, well, it was candles, and then also I started making because I was writing a lot, so I started making notebooks for myself, like hand bound notebooks.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing cyanotypes before, and so I make it's like another practice that I do whenever I fill up a notebook. I make a new one. So I make cyanotypes, which are sun prints of you know, plants, anything that like casts a shadow.
Wow.
I also go camping a lot, so I'll bring like prepped cyanotype sheets out into the wilderness and make prints of like whatever's blooming then. And then I come back and then I make myself notebooks. This one's almost full. I need to make a new one.
Whoa, that is so gorgeous.
My text block that I'm, you know, you like sew them all together and then you hardbind them. So basically those are all like they're like functional tools. It's like making art that is like useful for me, which is also what I love. I'm a sculptor, and I want things to be like interactive. You know, I want something to like have life. It's hard for me to just make an image that like goes on a wall in a frame. You know, I'm like, sculptures don't frame stuff. I don't know what that is. Like, it's too static.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Taking that time for myself gave me permission to make work for myself and also use like channel my creativity into like a ritual practice.
Ooh.
Yeah. Which has been fun. Great.
Yeah. I love that we're talking to you right now in the season of Imbolc and the time of Bridget, because we were just talking in our last couple care circles, I've been weaving in that energy. And Bridget is the goddess of poetry and healing, but also the blacksmith.
Yes.
Right. And so here you are talking about like, you know, being with metal and sculpture and making tools, but then also using wax, you know. And so to me, that also brings in that Bridget energy of there's also associations with milk and wax, kind of milky.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm not sure if you have much connection with her, but, you know, you seem like a natural devotee of Bridget.
Yes, I do love Bridget. I have been working with her for a couple of years with Amanda. And Amanda has some songs that I like to sing, the Bridget song. And she's had us do healing ceremonies that are like really powerful. I feel very close to Bridget.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as you were sharing your work and sharing your story, Theresa, it was like, I don't know, all this like radiation just was like shooting off of you. Like, yeah, this is like me. And I think the connect the dot of how what you doing, what lights you up, creating, and how you've been able to connect that to devotion, to practice, to ritual, to just like becoming more you. I'm like, like it's incredible, right? That's such a mindful use of our superpowers, if you will, right? Like, hell yeah.
Thank you for reflecting that back to me. That feels lovely.
So do you make the books just for yourself?
Mm-hmm. I have one friend that I made. She's an artist friend, and I, over the last couple of years, have got her into tarot and astrology. And for her birthday a couple of years ago, I made her a notebook and gifted her a tarot deck and my favorite tarot books. I'm like, come be witchy with me. My favorite thing is like bringing friends to the, the dark side, like, come, let's play with Hecate. It's much more fun over here, by the way.
Speaking of tarot, I'm curious, how does working with tarot and you tending to your care, Theresa, do you connect those dots, and if so, how?
Tarot is one of those things that it's one of the things that I've learned from my years of being an artist too, is that like practices kind of like ebb and flow, kind of like a tide, or like sometimes you need to let the field rest and go fallow, and then it can. So I go in and out of having like a really regular tarot practice, but it's like always very present for me. Sometimes if I'm like super busy, I forget to like pull my tarot cards out, because I also can get really into it. And so like I'll pull a spread, I'll make up a spread, and then like I have the spread, I think I sent it to you today, Tanya Mark, that it's like I pulled it on Monday and it's just been like hanging out with me. I like kind of, so yeah, I think it's a really beautiful practice because it's also like when I started using it, I was trying to like learn how to strengthen my like intuition, and so it's very like intuitive tool. And I like that it's material. I really like its connections with astrology too. So like I think it's fun to like overlap those two systems. And so a lot of times I will make up spreads that are like based on whatever astrological transit is going on. So like I just recently, like today, Saturn's moving into Aries, and so I did a spread that was, I called it Saturn office hours. Like what like okay, let's talk. It was like what was a lesson from Saturn and Pisces? What's my lesson going into Saturn and Aries? And yeah.
Ooh.
Often it's like uncanny, like I will pull a card that corresponds to whatever like transit I'm thinking about or that's happening, which is fun, But yeah, I love tarot and astrology. I think it's really rich and like holographic, like there's just so many entry points and so many ways to access it.
Yeah.
And I personally really love having something that is also like image and symbol based too, because that's another way to like access it. If you're like, I'm not like feeling like I'm understanding the like numerology or whatever, like you can always just like look at whatever image is on the card, and you can enter it that way too.
That's what I think excites me the most about it sometimes, that I feel is the various entry points to divination, tarot, and astrology. Like, I feel like it's very liberating to have conversations with others because it's not like it's all the ways.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's so neat that it's all of the things, how you're called to be with the cards, how the cards are called to, it's all of the things, and whatever comes out. And I love that there are instructors like Amanda Yates Garcia that really promote that, right? That it's like, develop a connection with the cards and the decks or the charts in your own way, whatever that might be, and honor that. To me, that really reads as care in a very deep, meaningful way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever use tarot in combination with your art in any way?
You know, I was just talking about this. One of the last, like, I guess, kind of shows, art shows I was a part of in 2020, like during lockdown. We have a friend who lives in Kyiv in Ukraine, and he did this like really sweet, beautiful like apartment show where he asked friends and artists to like send him things, and then he would like put it up in his apartment. And instead of like physically sending him artwork, we sent him sort of like instructions. And so one of the things I was like, I'm getting into tarot. Can I send you some like photos of my tarot spreads? And then also I was getting really into making them sort of like altars, like putting like flowers and fruit and anything that was like, you know, I like to go out in the world and like bring things back. And so I sent those to him, and then he recreated them based on whatever was blooming there. And that was really sweet and lovely.
Oh, wow.
But a couple years ago, I think 2024 maybe, I have a really good friend who I've been talking to for another person that was like, you should come to Amanda Yates Garcia's moon ceremony. He's like, do you know about tarot? Here's these tarot decks. I started getting really into talking with her about like making our own tarot deck, and things have been in the last like year, I've kind of like, you know, fallen off that. But now, like, just like this week, I'm like, it's calling me back. I'm like, I think, because there's so many, I love all the different tarot decks, but I haven't like found the one. And I'm like, I just need to make my own.
Woo!
But I also am like very I'm also I have a Scorpio stellium. So I'm like, I will like go very deep into things. And I'm like, I'm going to make the most like elaborate system. I think I mentioned this to you, Tanya Mark, that I would love to make a living systems tarot deck that is not just like, here's some images that remind me of living systems. Like the whole thing can be a living system.
Woo.
It would be something, the way that I want to do it would be, would take me many years. But I'm also like, what if I just quit this corporate job and spend all of my time making a living systems tarot deck? Like that would be incredible.
Yeah.
Just naming that medicine of like the importance of creating, right, in our times right now, and finding things that we can go and take a deep dive in, you know, regardless of where we are in our chart. I think things that pull our attention in ways like just naming, you know, that as a response to what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
It has been so lovely to like get into the mix with you, Theresa, around how are you filling your mug of care? And thank you for sharing and taking care of yourself in the way that you are, and for sharing, you know, your candles, and for sharing your sculpting superpowers that are just like really emanating from you in such magical ways. It's been lovely to hang out with you today.
Thank you so much. This has really been amazing. Thank you for the invitation too. It feels nice to be able to get to talk about things like this. You know, it's like, I don't always have an opportunity to, so I appreciate it.
Queer Spirit is hosted and produced by Nick Venegoni and Tanya Mark Oviedo. This episode was edited by Eric Shackney. Eric is a medium, energetic practitioner, and multifaceted musician with their own healing practice and Patreon offerings via Trans Alchemy, which includes a free monthly embodiment meditation. Check them out on patreon.com/transalchemyofficial. Thanks for listening, and please join us again soon.
Yes, please.